Welcome to yet another episode of Thoughtful Leaders, where we do one-on-one interviews with industry leaders to get their views on the education industry. We have Dr. VBK Mohan, Principal of Institute of Insurance and Risk Management, with us. He's a graduate in Mechanical Engineering from JNTU and holds a postgraduate diploma in management from IRMBA and a PhD in Commerce and Management in the area of marketing management. With over 28 years of industry experience in marketing, advertising, communication interventions, and project management for varied sectors. He has handled numerous product launches and consultancy assignments for government, non government, and multinational companies. Since 25 years, he has been teaching general management, marketing management, advertising, consumer behavior, strategic management, and other subjects at various management institutes and reputed engineering colleges, and currently at Institute of Insurance and Risk Management, Hyderabad. Uh, Thank you so much, Dr. Mohan, for accepting our invitation. We are pleased to have you here. Would like to know your thoughts.
Thank you.
You have held key positions at education institutes throughout your professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
See, I'm of the view that if you want to contribute something to the education sector, you have to have the passion for education or passion for transforming individuals through teaching. Okay, I have learned at a very early age, basically through my father. He's was the most reputed, the respected and very well recognized professor in engineering. So that always gave me, and I've seen a lot of his students always coming back to him and trying to take guidance and things like that. That was the inspiration. So that the first thing which made me that, okay, though I am into in a lot of industrial exposure, I thought it's very important, especially when we're talking about management education. The industrial experience or what is happening in the real life has to get into the classrooms. So that was a driving factor which actually made me to take up teaching more seriously. So be it engineering or a management graduates, I was handling a lot of subjects where the real life inputs would be brought into the classrooms and thereby inspire the students and make them more contemporary with the happenings rather than just going to theoretical framework. So these are the two major factors which made me to look into this key areas of working in the education sector. The other one is I have seen that if you actually able to at least inspire or a couple of people through your own either mentoring or coaching, which you call today, that you will be able to contribute a lot for the society development down the line. So that was the other aspect which we said, yes, as a teacher or as a professor, whichever you call, you are able to give some positive contribution to the society in an indirect way. So that was the third point which I can tell has made me always work in this sector or always associate myself with the sector, and I've been doing for more than 3 decades and various levels in terms of shaping up the institution, shaping up the curriculum, or any other area which could definitely make a difference.
Right, sir. Right. Being the principal of IIRM, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
Okay. Here, see, we are in we are an education institute. My leadership style is more of participative in nature. Okay, because we cannot, in this, especially management education, we require a lot of thought process or inputs for each of the faculty to develop themselves further and then give a lot of contribution to the students in terms of teaching or I have been exposed to a wide range of teaching methodologies during my career. I have been fortunate to have a lot of professors or at the big institutes or the named institutes to give inputs and contribute for my development. So that is one which helped me to involve people. So if you want to make somebody better in this education, the leader, as a leader or a head of keep them with opportunities and then help them to learn new things which are very contemporary. That's what will be more in tune with the times, and you will be able to help the student to connect with what's happening around. I have found this as a challenge because many of the institutes where I was associated earlier, they had this gap. So at IIRM, we ensure, me and also I report to the managing director, we ensure that this gap is reduced. And then this faculty are more contemporary. We keep on involving them in a lot of things and guiding them, mentoring them, and then handholding in certain cases. Because a lot of people have this interest to teach. Okay, they might have done a doctorate and things like that. So we handhold them. So it's a more of participative and involved leadership.
Great, sir. Great. So, being the principal of IIRM, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans, especially when it comes to the curriculum of your institute, designing the curriculum of your institute?
See, especially let's look at it in a very simplistic manner. What is it we are doing as an institute? I am actually creating a hope for them, for their life or livelihood. Okay, that means a person who is looking at IIRM is looking at a larger picture of his life through IIRM. So that is a fundamental issue which we address. So if I have to train him for his larger picture of a life, then that means I have to be appropriately developing in the space through the certain feedback that we pick up. So first and foremost thing we always interact is the industry. So we first have whenever any recruiting company comes to us or any other occasion, we sit with them and then say, okay, we teach risk management, we teach marketing, we teach this. What is it you look at marketing specialization? I'm a risk specialist. Then they will say, no, well, that is theory, but we are looking at these inputs. So those are the first thing which comes into our curriculum development. So our interaction with the industry is key as an input for us to shape up further. So we don't forget the core, but we orient the skills in a manner where the industry can appreciate. On the day one, he can join and start working on those little areas of assignments which have been given to the student when he takes up the job. So till now, everyone, the industry is saying, yeah, and the demands keep changing. So we have to constantly improve. That's the major challenge which we have. So today, if you see post-corona or when you have that situation, the older philosophy of what you taught the students are not required. They have to be more tech-based, to be more contemporary, and then identify more risks and how those risks, what are the strategies. So they have to come into the curriculum. Otherwise, the student is clueless. So this kind of an interaction with this industry fraternity, with people who are well experienced in the field and who are facing a day-to-day life in the industry, we pick cues from them, incorporate in our curriculum. And one other thing which has happened is, as you see progressively, education, especially management education, is leaning a lot towards tech or a technology domination or IT domination, you can call. So you have to factor that in your curriculum. So every subject of ours will have a tech dimension or an IT dimension to that. As simple as if you call it an econometrics, or it could be a complicated strategy or a risk. We always talk what tools you are going to bring into him. So that's where we always dovetail ourselves to what's happening, and this is a constant exercise. So last year, what student has studied on the name of the topic is a little bit different. Topic remains the same, the heading remains the same. The inputs are totally changed, which are very, very contemporary. That's the USP of our institute. You see curriculum, you'll be, amazed in terms of the kind of tech inputs are there, the kind of depth that is going in, everything is fairly contemporary and deep.
Wonderful, sir. That's how we understand how the curriculum of IIRM is different, and how it ensures the best practices of the industry. Any insights on how IIRM could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds? Do we have any
I
insights
didn't
there?
get it. No,
Yeah.
no. What is?
Do we have
Any?
any insights on how IIRM could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
See, basically, let's look at it. See, one different economic background. Basically, you're seeing from various strata of the society. Correct. Now, what is the overall core philosophy in looking at a student is the change factor. Okay, now you have tests, you have so many, you have CAT, MAT, they're all different percentiles. Now, if you just look at CAT, okay, as an exam, and you take most of the wannabe institutes like IIMs, they're all slowly reducing the score percentile. They're going more holistic. Okay, they're looking at various other components apart from just the score per se. So we go a step further because IIM is, I can call a baby in this space because of PGDM. Though we have a pedigree of being more than 10 years in this space, but we were running only 1-year programs, basically for the industry. Now, when we got into PGDM, it's about 4 batches now. But within these 4 batches, you will see what is that we're looking at. Are we looking at somebody who's very brilliant, something outstanding coming to us who can afford or anything? No. Affordability is the second part of what we look at. But what we are looking at is a student from different strata of this. What is our skills? Is he capable of picking up what you are giving? That's the most key, irrespective of the score. I'm not saying score is a filter, it's a filter mechanism. But after that is his ability to pick up. You dump him with something and he's not able, he's no clue. And because of brand is sustaining himself, what will happen down the line? He'll fail. Right? There are a lot of failures. You people, let's not go by the diktat. Just because I am from IIT, I am great, or just because I am from so and so, therefore I am absolutely brilliant. No, you have so many success stories around the environment where people with humble backgrounds, with simple education, they have created wonders. So this is the philosophy on which we go in. That is, if I look at a candidate who is looking at IIM, I will look at whether this guy has an ability to transform himself into something what is being given, and therefore he will lead a life. Therefore, he becomes a role model for many. A lot of our students, I can say, they come from humble backgrounds. Okay, middle class, you can tell. I can tell that the economic strata. Slightly, some people take, most of them may take, even though the fees is affordable according to my level. But still, a lot of people, some kind of a combination, and they come in. And the ROI which you look at, the transformation they look at, they just get a decent job, and then within 2 years, they are climbing the ladder in the career path on par with best of the best institutions in reckoning with. So that's the way you can look at. For a student who is at a middle level economy or anything, or his economic status is that, he need not worry about, okay, I am taking a loan or this fees or something. He just can take it. Question you need to ask is, I am getting into a space which could be very rigorous, very taxing, very demanding. Can I do that? Can I take it up? That's the only question you need to ask. Rest is ours.
Right. So what should be IIRM's top priority for the next 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
What should be the IIRM's top priority for the next 10 years? Top priority.
Okay, see, basically our vision plan is fairly extensive. Okay, today we are just in PGDM, 1 year, 2 year and 1 year approvals are there. We are going in for India accreditation, we'll be getting other accreditations also. And down the line, we want to have specialized verticals in certain other areas. Like if we would like to get into offer MS programs in certain areas like actuarial science, analytics, which are MS, they're not PGDM. We also want to get into those areas where others little hesitate to have this kind of specializations and things like that. We also want to be very techno-dominant courses, which are applicable for businesses. See, 2 things which we firmly believe is the future is in maths and tech. 2 things, whether you the business form, businesses and so we would like to equip ourselves in that in both in technology area and the mathematical star, which we call a different name. We call it analytics and things like that, or decision-making tools and things like that. That's okay. But we want to be in that space where, yes, we offer these areas core like MS Actuarial Science, MS Analytics, or MS only in some insurance or risk management core programs, or financial services, apart from PGDM, which is generic. So a combination of this, we would like to be there. And yes, if God permits or anything, down the line 10 years, IRM can also be a university by itself.
Wonderful. So, what would you like people to know about IIRM that they may not know currently?
Okay, see, because we've been very recent in this space, a lot of people don't really understand what is IIRM. Okay, the people in the industry, let's say if you take insurance and risk management and certain financial services, they are always aware. One more good institute promoted by the government and as well as the IRDAI, which is the regulator, they are aware of this institute. But most of the people at large in the industry, other than this, they are not aware. For a very simple reason, we've been taking baby steps in this space. Doesn't want to unnecessarily hype us or do anything and then say we are there in the market, this, that, and all. So we want our product to speak. That is one. Therefore, what they can know is at IIRM, you are, in an educational institute which is serious or always focused about the student and his career. That's what everybody should know. That is, we are student focused. Let me put it in a different way. We are marketing. Let's say I'm marketing guy. I'm into marketing. So I'm more bothered about my product, right? So if my product is good, the industry takes it. So I'm focused on my product. My product is student. Rest all are secondary for it. So we want the student to be good. You want the student to, and you want to scale. You want to scale him to whichever heights you go. So we are the enablers for the student. So if somebody has a passion in this particular line, a student or anyone, or if they are looking, if an industry is looking for students who are a little more serious about what they want to do, are more committed, they can definitely look at IIRM.
Right. So, what are some of the bigger challenges that you see, both for higher education in general and for IIRM specifically?
See what's happening. See, today I think we are in a flux situation and we want to really do wonders in higher education. And recently there is a policy which has been released. Okay, new education. I mean, that's another one which adds to the fuel in terms of what we need to do and all. So, see, this is where it's happening. If we suddenly became very flux, we are not sure. But anything we want to do, ultimately, we have to think about two major things. What is the content? What is the delivery mechanism? Simple. Be it a KG, LKG or a first class student, or an intermediate student, or a PG student, or a higher anything in higher education. So the bottom line is, what is the content? If a policy is coming, how are you going to fit in the policy? How do you ensure that the industry requirements are met? Today, the biggest challenge is if I give so much of freedom for a student to do whatever he wants, what will happen? The industry may not like the student. Very simple. I am specialized, neither I have focus nor I have a grip on anything. So the industry also has to understand how we are getting the new breed or the new crop which is coming into the market with a different kind of an attitude and orientation. So that is the biggest challenge, both in terms of content and how do you deliver. Is it only nowadays? Okay, pandemic is given some online version, but that's not forever. So how do you do the transformation of an individual? Especially higher education, what's happening is it's become very essential for everybody. You're looking at career paths or anything higher, you cannot stop today at degree level. Okay, you have to think about a PG course in whichever vertical you are in. I did BA, I have to do MA literature, definitely. Then otherwise people, or I'm into teaching, I have to do BEd, MEd. Whatever you call, you have to have an additional course. So the challenge is how do you ensure that the PG, especially if you're in a management education, and how can it be so contemporary at the same time, make the industry accepted. So every time there is a lot of churning going around, policies coming in, that's where you have a difficulty. That's the biggest challenge. For IIRM, you look at the challenge, we Fortunately, we have basically in a management institution, we are very we have a strategic vision of growth. So we have our own plan for the next 10 years, what to do, what not to do. What suppose if some now new education policy is coming. So you know what is that we are doing? We are re-looking at our strategic vision down the line, what we can incorporate, what sort of flexibility that can be given. So I don't foresee a major issues in terms of how we can adapt ourselves to the next 10 years. But the challenge, what I look at is how will the market accept whatever we are doing. So that's what we have to learn day by day and then improve.
Right. So, Mr. Mohan, what is the Dr. Mohan? What is the advice that you would like to give it to the students, especially who are listening and tuning to this episode?
Okay, so see, I can only at this moment talk about management education, first of all, right? Okay, and then I can share that something in generic in nature. See, what is happening is generic students get swayed by different media inputs, which is happening, that is happening something. So, whatever may be the input, they need to do their own assessment of self and then pick up the line which is very important for them, where they may have a passion or they may have an interest. Two things, interest is different and passion is different. So you can get into that. So, but when you're going by passion, your involvement has to be not just the words, but in terms of doing it, taking it to the logical end in terms of survival or maybe making a livelihood out of it. Interest comes only because of what is contemporary, what is being developed, what is where jobs are there, those kind of issues. So don't go by that. You have to factor many things when you are actually looking at a career. So that's where when you come to management education, you want to focus on a career, pick up those areas where you are good at, and then you can sustain yourself for long. So my advice to the students is first look at yourself. Okay, you've done your graduation, no issue, right? When you want to take up the level, you have to think twice before you jump into that whichever bandwagon you want to choose. Because a lot of people get pushed into those and finally realize this is not what I would like to do, or this is not what I would want to be types. So therefore, pause maybe some time, maybe 3 months, 6 months, take up some activity, something which will give you a little more clarity, then come to management education. And then see what is required. I mean, industry progressively is looking for slightly more grounded people rather than people who are only brilliant or only having some passion and big things. So industry doesn't want such. You are passionate about it, you do it in a pastime, not in an organization. So this is what I would like to tell everybody who's looking at, especially in management education. Select an area, pause, don't go by, oh, today analytics is there, I will run in analytics, I'll do MBA in analytics. It doesn't make sense. Are you tuned to it? Can you pick up? Can you take the load? For all you know, analytics may not be your core area. You may be good in finance or maybe in marketing or any other area. So don't go by that hearsay, but go by what you are good at. And then that is what you should be able to pick up as as a course in PG. So I'm saying PG, don't jump immediately as a logical connect. Pause, reflect, select, and then move forward. You will be successful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohan, for sharing your valuable advice. I'm sure our viewers also would love to hear your thoughts. That's what we believe.
Okay, I hope so. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.